Hey, what is up, guys? Pinebell Beer Reviews back here again with you today after a bit of a hiatus, I think it is, for a while now. Have been kind of just not really buying any beer this whole month of October. I have been just sort of had like a bunch of uh, different spirits and stuff like that, really starting to build up on my mini bar. And while spirits can last quite a while, they do start kind of losing a lot of their flavor and whatnot when they sit in a decanter or a bottle for a certain long, lengthy amount of time. So I've kind of just been, had some good scotches and everything like that. I wanted to kind of drink on and put some do some damage on and kind of get them out of the bottle and everything, so they don't. Some of these things I still have on my mini bar has been in the bottle for like going on a year, maybe more. So I haven't really been buying much beer, but I did have quite a bit of tip money, kind of just sitting on my counter for my job. So decided to go ahead and put that to some good use and go out and get myself a pick six of some different styles of beer. Lots of new ones that have been coming out this month that I have not gotten around to trying. So definitely wanted to do that. Anyway, yeah, long story short, back for some beer reviews. Gonna probably have a few more coming out soon if I can get around to finding the time to sit down and really dig into them. Instead of just sort of drinking them. Usually I'm kind of just in the middle of something when I crack a beer or something like that, so I don't really have time to get into it too much for here. But I love doing this, so I wanted to go ahead and get some more beer to do a new review on. So this one I was recommended by the nice young lady at the specialty beer store that I typically buy from, and this asked her if there was any new beers they've had in that she's tried that she liked, and this one she recommended to me. Terrappin's from Athens, Georgia. Their Touch of Grissette farmhouse style ale here at the pint can. Definitely love Terrapin beers. They're really good. One of my favorites from theirs is the I think it's like the Moo Hoo, kind of a goofy name, but it's basically like their chocolate milk stout, which really does taste like if chocolate milk was a beer. And that's a really good stout. And a lot of their other kind of hoppier additions to their lineup is really good too. I do love farmhouse ales. This is their Grissette style farmhouse ale. I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Probably not. But what I did kind of learn is Grissette, or Grissette or whatever it is pretty much whereas like the saisons, which is one of my favorite styles of beer. The saisons were really in the French sort of regions, the French, in France and everything like that. The farmers really were the saison drinkers. They were the one that brewed the saisons on the farms. The Grissette was kind of a farmhouse ale that was done by the miners. So this is pretty much a farmhouse ale for the miners instead of the farmers. So I believe I've maybe had one Grissette style beer once before, long ago. Not that I can remember which one it was or anything like that. So really, this is kind of a first for me again. Though I'm sure it's going to taste fairly similar to a saison, though Grisettes apparently have a bit more of a lighter sort of flavor to them. I can already smell the really kind of fermenty, funky sort of aroma that comes from these styles of beer. 4.2% alcohol, so it definitely is a light drinking beer. And it has a bit of a lactic, it says this is a lactic fermentation. Dry hopped with Azaka for a blast of aroma. This beer has loads of wheat and spelt malt that create a soft biscuity malt profile for a slightly tart and spicy finish from the lactic fermentation and traditional saison yeast. So this is from their, it said their Atlanta brew lab, so this is kind of an experimental brew from Terrappin, I believe, not necessarily part of their standard lineup, but definitely one that I wanted to check out. Oops, sorry about that. One that I definitely wanted to check out as a fan of saisons. So yeah, it gets a it's 4.2% ABV. Like I said, gets a 3.48 on Untappd. I think 23 IBU, so it's going to be slightly hoppy, but mostly not really a hop forward beer at all. So the color is really a straw kind of yellow, maybe a little bit of haziness to it. Let's see if I can get any more like maybe cloudiness in here. I'm sure there's going to be some stuff at the bottom of that. But yeah, sort of just a straw kind of yellow that you can see here, pale kind of straw yellow. Nice little 2 fingers of head in this Belgian style glass. So let's get right into the aroma right now. I can already tell it's going to be pretty pungent. So yeah, definitely getting some soft fruit notes. Maybe like some pear, bit of apple maybe. Yeastiness, bit of hop aroma, a little bit of a kind of bar soap, that you get from some of these lighter beers. Always kind of attune it to like a Dove scented, soap bar or something like that. Which I think a lot of that comes from all the CO2 in the head of most beers. They get that sort of thing from. And definitely a tart kind of funkiness to it, although not as not as pungent as like a saison or something like that. It's definitely more toned down. Almost kind of gives me a more kind of just a typical sort of sour ale kind of characteristic, getting that sort of vibe from this one. I think like Sierra Nevada Eau Trevet or something like that is what I'm kind of getting from. Sorry, I keep looking out the window. I'm kind of expecting UPS to come by. Yeah, it has just a very subtle, funky sort of aroma. We'll probably get more out of it after it warms a little bit, opens some more notes up and everything in it. So let's get straight into the flavor on this one. Flavor is definitely subtle as well, but obviously there. Yeah, really seems like a bit of a warm weather kind of drink. Warm weather kind of beer, I should say. I'm not really sure if this is a seasonal or if it's just sort of a kind of out of the box sort of addition that they just sort of added on. It's not really anything seasonal or anything like that. So I did just get some extra haze in there, I believe, with that pour. I think I can see like a thin descending cloud there. See if that really changed the flavor up at all. Okay, yeah, now I'm getting much more of a sort of like mandarin orange rind sort of flavor there. Good bit more of a sort of breadiness, a yeastiness. Of course, there's probably some yeast sediment there at the bottom of the can. A good bit of fruitiness, more of those like soft sort of fruit notes, pear and whatnot in there. And some slight spiciness, kind of more, some light coriander or something like that, possibly. And it does taste similar a bit to a wheat beer, but not necessarily like, Blue Moon or Oberon Ale from Bell's. Nothing really quite as citrus and coriander forward as that can be. But very, very, like, again, like it really is heavily reminding me more of a like Eau Trevet from Sierra Nevada, or like a Berliner Weisse or something. Berliner Weisse, or like one of those sort of like German style sour ales. Very light, very refreshing, very drinkable. But a solid amount of that kind of barnyard sort of funky, kind of yeasty flavor that you can kind of still tell it's definitely kind of leaning towards more of like a farmhouse style ale. The mouthfeel is fairly light, kind of medium light, verging more on just more light overall. Carbonation is fairly strong. As I speak of it, it's punching back. The finish, again, it's 4.2% alcohol, so it is very wet, very drinkable. Again, this would be really good, Indian summer kind of warm weather. You know, if it's still a little warm in your part. Here in South Mississippi, it's finally kind of getting more towards fall. It's really actually fairly dreary, and it's been drizzling all day, and kind of maybe 62 outside, probably low 50s at this point, this late in the afternoon. So not necessarily the best kind of beer for the weather that we're having out there right now. I have some dark ales and stuff like that in there too that I'm kind of maybe try one of those later tonight or something. But this is definitely one that would be good if you're still kind of experiencing some warmer fall weather at the moment. One to definitely check out if you see it. For me, I give it an A minus. It's not something that's like really spectacular or anything like that. It's a really really good farmhouse style. Just a bit light. I like them a little bit fuller in flavor, a little spicier even. It could even be funkier, but again, this is, as the name implies, a touch of Grissette, so it is, I think, meant to be a very sessionable type of farmhouse ale. So A minus for me on Terrapin's touch of Grissette. One for the thumbnail, and I definitely would recommend checking it out if you see it, because it's probably not going to be around for very long, since I believe this is sort of an experimental type of addition to the lineup that they're adding. Yeah, definitely recommend checking it out if you see it. And until next time, guys.